going on, everybody? So a lot of people have asked me, what do you eat to have lost as much weight as you have and to put on as much muscle as you have? So today I'm going to be walking you through one of my staple meals, and honestly a staple meal of anybody that does any sort of weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding, and that is chicken breast. Now the first thing you're going to notice is that I actually messed up. It's still frozen. That was not intentional, I just did not thaw it out quick enough, and here we are. But that's not going to be a problem. It's just going to take a little longer, but it's not going to actually be any more work. And we'll get into that here in a second. Now, disclaimer, some people may argue this video and say, oh, it would be so much better if you did it like this. Why don't you use this instead? Or, you know, tinfoil or whatever. The reason I do it like this is because it's fast, quick, cheap, not many dishes, and takes no thought. Like once you get this going, it's easy, it's second nature. So let's get right into it. First thing you're gonna need is some sort of spray butter. It could be canola oil, whatever, just anything that kind of tastes and functions like butter in a spray can. Now, you're gonna notice this one's kind of empty and this one's full. Why do I have two of them? Well, when these things get towards the empty side, they do not like to spray like that. So you've got to sort of hold them up. So I sprayed the bottom of the pan, but I still want to use this. So I hold it up vertically and there we go, look at that. And you're gonna want to coat this motherfucker down. Spray butter is, this is a key part of all of this. So you got that bottom part covered. Why you do that is so it seals the bottom part, seals the moisture in. Lay your chicken out, bada boom, bada boom. And try and keep an eye out for the biggest one. This is gonna be a big one here, because that's what you're gonna put your thermometer in, which we'll get into here in a second. So it's gonna be these two that are probably gonna be the biggest. Well, whoops. So these two, this one in particular is going to be the biggest one. So here's another key part of this. Now you kind of need this if you're going to do this, but this is something you want to buy this. Even if you don't cook it the way I do, if you're eating this frequently, you need a thermometer that displays the temperature wirelessly. So what this means is that I don't actually have to check in on this. And if this chicken is frozen, I don't have to play this weird guessing game of, is it done yet? Is it not done yet? Oh, what temperature is the chicken at? I just have a readout that tells me right here, and I can just be over there on my computer doing something else, and this thing will start beeping when it hits 165 or 170 or whatever I decide to set it at. So take your probes, stick them in your two biggest pieces of chicken into the dead center, if possible. Now one of my probes is actually broken, so it reads like it's like 20 degrees too hot, which is not a big deal because I have two of them, but you can buy replacement probes. So you see already, first, the probe that's working has LLLL. That just means it's below 32 degrees and it can't read out. And this one is sort of buggy. It still says 93. It's like 20 degrees off. Now I'm gonna wait for both of these to be at least 170 degrees. One of them may cook a little faster than the other one, or you may just put a probe into a smaller piece of chicken and it reads like 190. You're not gonna burn it, it's fine. Just make sure they're both at 170 just to be safe. So now that we have the bottom of the pan buttered and the chicken on the pan and we have the probes in, here's where the magic happens, and you want to be pretty liberal with this. Now, two of the spices I recommend, you can just get this at Walmart. I highly recommend the Wing Commander. Unfortunately, I'm kind of running low, so maybe I'll have to supplement with something else, but get a bunch of different spices. Like, you're going to get bored of the same shit. Personally, I like Wing Commander. Let's see if we have enough to do it, and just lay it on, dude. Lay it on thick, because the amount of calories in this spice it's irrelevant. There's no point in tracking the macros of the spray butter and the spices, because a lot of this shit you're actually not going to be eating. It's going to go into the pan, and even, you know, this stuff has like 0 to 5 calories per serving. Now obviously I'm laying this on thick, so maybe worst case scenario, all this stuff adds up to be 200 calories. But even then, it's still worth it, because your adherence to this, you know, making this taste good with a slight increase of calories is absolutely worth it and will let you adhere to the diet. Now, this is where I'm going to lose some of you guys, and some of you guys are going to be like, that's just excessive. But trust me, you're not actually going to be eating a lot of this butter. A lot of this is going to end up in the pan. But the main thing this is gonna do is it's going to seal in the juice and the flavor of the chicken, because you've got the bottom of the pan buttered, and now we're gonna hit the entire top layer of the chicken pretty liberally, like for real. Don't be afraid to spray this. You know, it says it has 0 calories per serving, but honestly, you're probably gonna be adding like 100 calories of this shit. Like, it's not exactly 0. So don't be afraid to use this liberally. It will make it taste much better, and you'll see the final product. So lay it on thick. I mean, just let her rip, tater chip. Hit it on the sides, you know. Don't be afraid to... It looks gross, I know it does, but a lot of this stuff, most of this is gonna run off into the actual pan itself. So it's really not a big deal. But really, lay it down thick, get those angles. And the reason why I have the full can of spray butter instead of this little empty one is because you'll notice this one doesn't spray for, it's kind of spraying, but yeah, it barely sprays at that angle. So that's why you gotta have the one that's got a little more in it. Making a little bit of a mess there, but so now you got your chicken buttered, and that's it. You're just gonna take it, stick it in the oven at 400 degrees. I should have done that before we started. Oven is preheating. Now look at that, the oven is preheating. Do we have to wait? No, we don't have to wait. Why? Because we have a digital thermometer. So, yes, it will take a little longer because we're still waiting for the oven to heat up to 400 degrees, but we got this. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my timer. And that probe is broken. Obviously, it's not really 94, but this one, this LLL one, is gonna be the one we pay attention to. And if I had to guess, this chicken is probably gonna take about an hour to cook with how frozen it is and how we have to wait on the oven. But we'll see how accurate I am with it taking about an hour to cook. All right, so here we are, right at about an hour later. We're above 170 degrees. We'll rip these bad boys out and see how they turned out. All right, there we go. Looking good, looking good. And let's see if I can show off the juiciness here. So, all right. This thing was frozen hard as a rock an hour ago. As you can see, very juicy. Let's cut into this. Let's cut into this bad boy. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but oh yeah. Very juicy on the inside, very easy to make. So yeah, there it is. Good macros, cheap, easy to make, very little dishes, and tastes pretty good. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.